They say moving is one of the most stressful things a human can endure. New streets, new faces, new silences. For 16-year-old Elara, it wasn't the boxes or the new school that unsettled her. It was the silence. Because inside the silence of her new bedroom, in that cold house that smelled faintly of cedar and something older, she could hear it. A slow, rhythmic scrape. Not a mouse, not a settling beam. It sounded like a long, jagged fingernail dragging deliberately across wood. From the inside. She would later describe it to investigators as the sound of something practicing patience. Tonight, we look into the case of the Blackwood House, a girl who was already learning to disappear, and the thing that decided to step into the space she left behind. And before this story ends, I want you to consider one question. If something wanted to borrow your voice, how would it start? The new girl, a ghost in plain sight. The move to Oakhaven was supposed to be a fresh start. Elara was the kind of girl who felt invisible even when she was standing in plain sight. At school, she moved quietly, headphones in, lunch eaten alone in the library. Not bullied, not noticed. Her parents, David and Sarah, were thrilled. The Victorian fixer-upper had been a bargain, so affordable their realtor seemed uneasy, though she couldn't explain why. "It's been sitting a while," she'd said. Elara's room felt wrong from the first night. It was the only room that stayed cold. David blamed insulation. Sarah bought an extra blanket. Neither noticed that the cold didn't come from the walls. It came from the closet. The wardrobe was original to the house. Built in, floor to ceiling, dark oak panels untouched by renovation. The listing had called it a charming period feature. Elara wrote something different in her journal. "It looks like a door, not a closet door. A door to somewhere else." The mirror mounted to the front was slightly warped. Her reflection looked correct, but the room behind her always seemed darker in the glass than it was in reality. Like the mirror remembered a different version of the room. The first incident. 3 nights after moving in, Elara woke at 2:17 a.m. The closet door was open. She had shut it. She always shut it. The smell hit her first. Not cold air, damp air. Earthy, underground. And centered perfectly between her hanging clothes was a small object that didn't belong to her. A rusted antique silver thimble. It was heavier than it should have been. Inside, scratched faintly into the metal, M.A.B. She placed it on her windowsill. She did not sleep again that night. The attention trap. When Elara showed her parents the thimble, her father laughed it off, probably stuck in the floorboards. When she mentioned the scratching, her mother gave her a careful look. "Elara, you don't have to invent things to get us to stay home with you. Try drama club, meet people." That was when the isolation began. Not in the closet. At the breakfast table. Because the wardrobe didn't need to scare her. It needed something much quieter. It needed doubt. The scratches turned into whispers. Thin, layered voices murmuring her name from behind the hanging clothes. She would yank the door open. Nothing. One afternoon, she found her school notebook open. Her name, Elara, written again and again across the page. The pressure increased each time until the pen tore through the paper. She counted. 47 times. That number would matter later. She texted her old friend Maya. "I think something is in my room." "Like a ghost?" Elara stared at the closet. "I don't know what it is, but I think it's learning me." The recording. Elara decided to prove it. She left her phone recording overnight, tucked under her bed, angled toward the wardrobe. The next morning, she sat on the edge of her bed and pressed play. At first, nothing. Then breathing. Soft, measured. Then her own voice, not similar. Identical. Same cadence, same nervous upward lilt. "I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely. Let me in. I'm so lonely. Let me in." It repeated for minutes. At exactly 4 minutes and 47 seconds, it stopped. Silence. A sharp inhale. And then, "I sound just like you, don't I?" The phone slipped from her hands. That night at dinner, she played it for her parents. Her father's jaw tightened. "Did you record this yourself?" Her mother stared at the table. And something inside Elara shifted. Because now it wasn't just in the closet. It was between her and the only two people who could protect her. That night, the closet door didn't creak open. It slammed. So hard the mirror cracked, a single jagged line splitting her reflection in half. And inside the fracture, she saw eyes, wearing her face, watching. The scream brought her parents running. The room was destroyed. Drawers overturned, lamps shattered, clothes everywhere. Elara stood in front of the wardrobe, back to them. "Elara?" She turned slowly. She looked exactly like their daughter, but her eyes were flat, gray, distant. When she spoke, her mouth moved a half second behind the words. "I was just seeking attention." Sarah stepped forward and froze, because behind those gray eyes was something patient, satisfied. David grabbed her arm. It was dead cold. And then, pounding, from behind the mirror, David turned. In the fractured glass, in a darker version of the bedroom, was the real Elara, palms pressed against the inside of the mirror, screaming, her mouth moving in perfect sync. The thing in the room smiled, its jaw lowered farther than it should, wider. 47 mirror shards trembled in the crack. David didn't think. He drove a heavy oak chair straight into the glass. The mirror didn't shatter outward. It imploded. A rush of freezing air pulled inward like a vacuum. The gray-eyed thing let out a sound, not a scream. Recognition. As if this was always the risk. Then it was gone. Pulled inward. The real Elara collapsed forward out of the wardrobe, gasping. Alive. What was left behind? They moved out the next morning. They left the wardrobe, the mirror, the clothes, the thimble. Later, county records confirmed that in 1894, an 11-year-old girl named Margaret Ann Blackwood died in the house. Cause of death: sudden failure of the vital faculties. Neighbors described her as painfully shy. She went quiet. One account read, "There were no signs of illness, just silence." Elara is 19 now. She speaks clearly, loudly, often. She avoids full-length mirrors at night. 8 months after the family moved out, the new owners called David. Their daughter had found something in the closet. A silver thimble. "She keeps carrying it around," the woman said lightly, whispering to it. "Kids, right?" David's hand went cold on the phone. The wardrobe whisperer never hunted loudly. It didn't scream. It waited. It chose someone already learning not to be heard. And when her voice began to fade, it stepped in. So tonight, don't check your mirror for what's in it. Check it for what might be waiting behind it. Good night.